Man, we finally made it! Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is actually in our hands, and after a year of non-stop hype, roster predictions, and endless debates in the comments, the game finally dropped today. Arc System Works teamed up with Marvel to make a full-on 4v4 tag fighter, and you already know that the second that my download finished, I hopped straight in. I put about 2 hours into this thing, messing around in training mode, checking out the menus, and running some matches online, and now I'm already on a massive deep dive review once I get maybe 50 or 60 hours in. But right now, this is just my raw, honest day one vibe check, you know? Does this 4v4 system actually feel good, or is it just absolute visual chaos on the screen? Did the servers hold up, or are we staring at a disconnect screen on launch day? And most importantly, is this game worth dropping your hard-earned 60 bucks on this thing right now? I gotta be real with you, these first 2 hours definitely surprised me, but maybe not in the exact way I expected. But before we get on to my first impressions, if you guys don't know me by now, I'm Mr. Frosty Flames, but you can call me Mike. We do anything gaming news, reviews, playthroughs, anything FGC related, anything superhero related, anything gaming related, period. So if you enjoy that content, be sure to hit that sub button and join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Okay, first things first, we gotta talk about the presentation in this game because the developers honestly went crazy. The animations are as smooth as butter, the soundtrack is full of bangers. I love Magic's theme song. It's like heavy metal, like rah rah rah. It's really crazy, and the stages have so much life packed into the background that you'll literally get hit in the face because you were busy staring at the scenery. Like, I was playing on the X Mansion stage and I seen like Rogue and Gambit in the background. I was like, man, looking at them, and I was getting beat up because I was just looking at them. It was crazy. There's so much life in the stages. It's more than maybe Street Fighter or Tekken in my opinion. Now look, I know the anime style cell shading might not be everyone's cup of tea. Some people wanted a photorealistic hyper-rendered graphics where you could literally see the individual pores on Wolverine's nose. Some people wanted that for a Marvel game, something darker, but me personally, I love it. I think it gives the game its own distinct identity, and when the screen explodes in a flurry of just characters and super moves flying everywhere, it looks like a comic book page literally coming to life. I can't speak for consoles, but I played this on PC, and I just want to say a huge shout out to the PC optimization side because the Steam version is only around 25 gigabytes, and to be honest, in an era where games like Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Street Fighter demand you to delete your entire library just to install a mid-season patch, I mean, having a gorgeous crisp fighting game sit clean at 25 gigabytes is a massive dub right out of the gate. I love it. And when you get past the menus and actually jump into a match, the combat system feels ridiculously fluid. It genuinely feels like the next best thing for Marvel vs. Capcom fans who've been starving in the trenches for years. I mean, I love this game, and I feel like this game will take a lot of MVC fans. And to be honest, I'll admit, when they first announced a 4v4 tag system for this game, I was a little skeptical. You know, 4 characters on a team sounded like an absolute chaotic mess where you wouldn't even know where your own character was on the screen, but after playing it, it actually works insanely well. It does take a bit to get used to, especially if you're not used to all the stuff flying in the screen, but after a couple matches, after playing for like an hour or two, you will get the hang of it. And here's a quick tip for anyone out there stressing about the roster. You do not need to master 4 individual characters right off to rip to master this game. Sure, knowing all 4 inside and out will help you dominate in the long run, but starting out, you could get super comfortable with just 1 or 2 solid picks and use your 3rd or 4th mostly as an assist or something, and still have an absolute blast running matches. And for example, the only 2 characters that I tried and played were Magic and Miss Marvel. I had a decent amount of success playing as them, and only with me jumping into the character combo trials and character tutorials for about 20 minutes each. You do not need to learn 4 characters because you just have 1 health bar per round for your whole team, and there's no real requirement for switching characters mid-fight. Obviously for pro players, it's most likely a must for optimization. However, for casuals or just playing for fun, it's not a requirement. I just used Magic and Miss Marvel as my mains, and I had Blade and Magneto only come out during assists. And this game is very easy to learn, hard to master, because gameplay wise, Marvel Tokon hits that classic saying, and it's that sweet spot that anyone could pick up a controller, smash some buttons, and feel like an absolute superhero pulling off flashy moves on day one. Now on the flip side to that, and something that might irritate a few classic fighting game purists, is that the reliance is on one button specials and auto combos. It's basically like playing Street Fighter on modern controls. So if you're that type of player who thinks that every single combo should require a pretzel motion on the D-pad and inputs with frame perfect execution, those auto combos might give you a minor headache. But trust me, there is so much mechanical depth, assist timing, and team synergy buried beneath the surface that once the lab monsters get a hold of this game for a month, high level play is gonna look completely unhinged. I think it's gonna look cool, and I look forward to what it looks like. But stepping away from the gameplay for a moment, outside of beating people up, the game drops you into this cool online hub area where you could run around, explore, and hang out. It gives you that classic arcade lobby vibe where you could see other players just running around, setting up matches, standing at the arcade, or just standing around emoting at each other or showing off their skin or their pet or whatever. And to be honest, the chibi hub avatars are ridiculously cute. It's such a small detail, but running around as a tiny bobble-headed comic character while waiting for your cue to pop up gives the game a super fun social atmosphere that makes the launch day feel like a real event. And if you're like me and you love sitting in the lab before stepping foot into the online Wild West wasteland, you'll be happy to hear that the training mode is actually super solid. They built a full character guide and combo system trials that actually break down how each fighter operates, what their assists do, and how much they could make the most out of their kit. As for the base roster, I feel like it's solid. The characters we got do feel distinct, unique, and genuinely fun to pilot. However, my only real nitpick here is that for a 4v4 tag fighter game, the launch roster could have been just a little bit bigger. I feel like with 20 characters, you're already playing like 20% of the roster, and that's a decent start, but with every match requires just 8 total fighters on the screen, you start bumping into the exact same team combinations pretty quickly, or seeing the same characters over and over and over again. Now, we gotta address the elephant in the room. This is a fighting game after all, so the online experience matters. It basically runs the show, because this is where my day one hype train ran into a slight brick wall. Now, all of your fighting game features are here. You know, you got ranked, casuals, and custom lobbies and custom rooms. However, during my 3-hour play session, the netcode felt pretty laggy, or maybe not pretty, but just a bit laggy. I was running into some noticeable stuttering, rollback spikes, and just input delay in a handful of my matches. Now, to be completely fair, this could just be launch day server congestion from thousands of people logging on all at once, but if you're hopping online today expecting flawless, buttery smooth netcode right out of the gate, just be prepared for a few bumpy matches while the servers settle down. Now, this could have just been my experience. I could have just been unlucky, but you know, this is just over the course of matches with different people, so maybe it is the netcode, maybe it isn't, I'm not sure. And on the single player side of things, I purposefully skipped the full story mode during this first session. I'm saving that for the whole review so I could just digest it properly and give you guys a complete breakdown in my big review down the road. I did, however, play through the arcade mode with the hub avatars, like that side mode where you're collecting power-ups and just punching the other avatars. It felt pretty repetitive in my opinion. I think it went on for way too long and I didn't really get the point of how it was structured. If you're somebody who buys fighting games strictly to play offline single-player content by yourself, I don't think arcade mode alone is simply gonna justify the purchase. Which brings me to the price tag. At $60, Marvel Tokon feels just a little bit pricey for what's immediately on display for launch day. When you factor in a slightly limited launch roster, some day one netcode hiccups, and an offline arcade mode that feels a bit like a chore, it makes that full $60 admission price a little tough to swallow for super casual fans. However, the core fighting mechanics are an absolute blast and the foundation is incredible, but still $60 is still, you know, a lot of money. But if you're a Marvel fan, if you're a fighting game fan, you should get the game. What's my official day one verdict? Okay, what's my first impression? I say yes, buy this $60 game if you're a diehard fan of fighting games or Marvel. The combat, presentation, and the tag mechanics are way too fun to pass up. Even if you're just a casual Marvel fan or if you just have friends you want to play this game with, buy it. But if you're just a super casual fan that's on the fence, maybe just hold off or wait for a sale or just like a big update. And remember, this is strictly my first impression impression vibe check after just 3 hours of playtime. My opinion could easily shift once I log, 50 hours into rank, finish the story mode, and see if, the developers smooth out the online servers after launch week. But I want to hear from you guys now. Did you guys pick up Marvel Tokon today? And what are your first impressions so far? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you enjoyed this first impressions video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Be on the lookout for my big on, full on review. It's gonna be coming out soon. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Be on the lookout for more content and subscribe. Mr. Frosty Flames out. Ciao.